Gerry Brown, Groove Don't Lie, back here. Episode number 2 of the great bassist, Mr. Reggie Hamilton, whose story is ultimately a story about versatility, listening, and the art of making a song feel complete, and the knowledge to go with that. Here's Reggie.
Yeah, I was explaining to students about how you and I used to, let's say we're playing some trio gig and we would take on musical persona. Like you like, okay, I'm going to do Jimmy Cobb the whole day. Like, okay, I'll do Pete, or I'll do Tommy Potter, like mix it up, cats that really didn't play together, you know, or I'll be Sam Jones and you'd be Papa Joe. It was fascinating, and I explained it I used to talk about it in my rhythm section class at USC, how I would make the students be other players. How would they approach this? Okay, and 3, 2. It was terrifying. It's like putting them in the hot seat. But it was really good for them because it's like reading more books, you know, how to become literate on one's own self. But we have to read other things. We have to read Michener. We have to read John Irving. We have to read, Evelyn Waugh, whatever it is. But that's how we become more literate and develop our own thing by experience, either like we read or we play.
Of knowing the history, which
Yeah,
if you know the history, then you increase your vocabulary.
absolutely. Absolutely. It's not just learning. Everyone can learn the words. How to converse is a huge thing.
And what we do is the conversation
Absolutely.
between the musicians. People who come to see events, they may have their reasons, but at the end of a show, for me, it's like, how was my conversation with everybody in the band and whoever is leading singer or whatever, and you touched on it very much. It's like knowing those lyrics, for me, it's like, okay, yeah, the lyrics, but that tempo's got to be right for those lyrics to come out smooth.
Absolutely. And the phrasing and the feel.
The phrasing and fit. Yes.
I was just thinking of something. There's 2 ways to look at fills. It's
Uh-oh.
almost like no, check this
All you
out.
youngsters, please
Whether it's
listen to
bass fills,
this.
guitar fills, or anything, there's 2 ways to look at it. I mean, just from a conversational standpoint. You know, there are people that wait to talk. There are people that listen and then respond. You know, so with the listening and respond, you imagine being around a bunch of friends, and one guy tells a story. So there's maybe 3 or 4 friends together. Maybe one chimes into the story, or one talks over the story. It's like telling a joke as opposed to saying things like, "Oh man, did you hear that?" A fill can be that way. Someone sings a phrase and that fill accents what the phrase was. Did you hear that? Responding to it as opposed to talking over it and playing something completely different and out of the loop that means absolutely nothing to the music. Which I, I, I dread to say that I hear it more than I want to these days. I have to chalk it up to it's a new world of music. It's changing. But even with music changing, conversations in the 23rd century should fundamentally be the same thing as conversations in the 14th century. You're communicating. It should be relatively the same, whether what you're playing might be different or out. It could be out. I mean, Ornette Coleman, The Shape of Jazz to Come is some bad stuff. It's still a conversation. You know, Anthony Braxton, still a conversation. You know, Stockhausen, still a
Still a
conversation.
conversation.
You know, and yeah, you can play 12 tone roll all day, still a conversation. Elliott Carter, still a conversation. Hendrix tripping balls, still a conversation. You know, that's that's the difference. That's the difference, at least for me. I know that's off on a tangent, but
No, it's not.
that
No,
that comes
hey,
back to
it's
this: what makes a great bass line, or what makes a great drum groove, what makes a combination of the two, because that's a huge thing. You know, you and John Lee, you and Stanley, you and Nate. You know, those are great conversational duos. You know, and that's a huge. I mean, at least for music has changed so much that there's a lot of drum programming and there's a lot of synth bass programming and there's a lot of electric bass preconceived stuff that someone's going to play all diminished stuff over this line because they've worked out the scale, pulling out the tonic and whatever. But it's not the same as communicating. It's not the same as listening and responding, as opposed to waiting to respond. Because you can listen and decide not to respond and still be grooving and just leave that space alone.
you leave that space
Is music.
space is music. It's a breath,
Yes.
and in that space, there's magic. Let the
Yeah.
lead it. Get out of there. Leave that alone.
Leave that space alone. Get off that space. Leave that space
get,
alone.
get out of no, 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 no.
I mean, if you listen to Larry Graham playing Hair, as dense as that is, there's a lot of space in there to get down. A lot. You know, I hate to jump on a soapbox, but what's really bothering me about the state of funk today, or what kids think
Oh,
funk is,
oh,
man, it's brutal. It's like frenetic, and it's I don't want to name names, and I'm not going to name names, but it's I know I'm at a certain age where I'm like not stuff, and I have like the least amount of fear at the end of as my career, whatever dwindles, whatever it does. Um, but I don't want to name names to hurt anybody's feelings. I guess I'll tell them directly because I'm still good at that. But it's frenetic, and it's there's a time for maybe one or two tunes to have that sense of urgency, electricity. But everything it just sounds like a bunch of BB guns going off. It ain't no real firepower up there with that. It's just a bunch of BB guns, and it's the plastic ball bearings. It's not even real names. It's like before those old guns, the plastic BB guns are yellow. Remember the little
yes,
yellow?
yes, yeah.
Yeah, it's like that. It's like everybody's having a war with that on stage. Like, ain't no real firepower going on. It's not like you and Joe Henderson going to town. It's it's picky, 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 picky. Um, I have an issue. Yeah, I mean, that's why when you listen to Marcus, that's why he brings that funk home so much. He's not playing like all up end, like big, 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 big. It's like big old one like Bach. Bum, bum, bugga, bum, bum, bugga, digga, bum, 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 digga, bum, like Bootsy.
You knew where the one. Here's the one. Here's the one.
Yep. Even if it's a slow one. You know what I mean? That's you know what that one is. That's there's everything is one with the new funk. Can I say that? Like new funk like features of music. I don't know, but I hate to jump on I'm off my soapbox about that now. So kids play slow sometimes.
Play
That's all I got.
slow.
Yeah, slow roll a little bit. There's so much in it. Girls
Or,
dance better
or,
to music.
or another possibility of practices. Okay, you know you can play all these other notes. Can you play a quarter of those notes that you play and make it happen?
Make it happen. Can you play one note and make it happen? Why is BB King still the king? One note. One note.
Answer. So you just mentioned BB King. So I finally met recently Rod Bland,
Oh wow. Okay.
Bobby's son, Bobby Blue
Yeah.
Bland's son. He plays drums. How he plays drums, man,
Oh,
with that groove,
you know,
it's
he. I don't
man,
want to say they beat it into him, but
that
he's
groove. And
yeah.
so sometimes I happen to be like on Instagram, and then all of a sudden it's Rod Bland live. It's like,
Oh,
let me see this motherfucker. I said, let me see what he's doing. And he's got the camera there, and he's just, if he's playing at a club,
pocket.
oh man, hey, that pocket's down in the length,
Yep. Just grooving. Not,
man.
not yeah, just grooving. And the fills accent the groove.
Yep, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he's not playing anything with, yeah, just grooving. Non sequitur. Speaking of different styles of music, Jerry Jamott's playing on The Thrill Is Gone. He's also playing on The Revolution Will Not Be Televised.
Oh,
I'm just putting that out there for y'all. Jerry Jamott's a bad man.
Jerry
Still,
Javon. Yes, he's still a bad man.
he's still a bad man. So The Revolution will not be televised and The Thrill Is Gone.
That's the same person.
Same person. A couple with all the other stuff, with him playing with Aretha, all the other stuff. So very dramatic. Yeah, that's the other thing. So in order to make a great bass line, I think it's important to really understand your history. I mean, cat like Joe Osborne, who played on all that other, he was in the Wrecking Crew, but he's also listen to him play with Simon Garfunkel on America. It's basically a bass solo throughout the tune, but you never notice it until you really listen. He's like, man, he's playing some beautiful stuff. Joe Osborne was a bad dude, but he had a lot of information that he could pull from. Makes a huge difference. If you're just listening to the Winans and you're listening to Commissioned and you're listening to Y- Yolanda Adams and Donnie McClurkin, BB and CC, or just in that scene, you're only getting that perspective. If you're just listening to The Killers or Bush or My Chemical Romance or any of that stuff, you're just getting that perspective. So you're just listening to Bob, which is not bad, but you're going to be just there. If you're just stuck in the days of PC, Sam Jones, Wilbur Tommy Potter, and you're not really listening to Ron or listening to Cecil McBee as much because they've moved forward, understanding Ron's sound, and you're just playing with gut strings, okay, cool. So you're just there. You want to become a museum piece as opposed to moving forward in things. There's There's something to be said, whether you like it or dislike it, there's something to be said for studying music. Are you a musician? Or just a jazz musician, or just a rock musician, or just a funk musician, or just a gospel chops musician? If you're if you're pigeonholing yourself in any one of those things, then you're missing out.
A disservice.
You're doing yourself a disservice, not only to music, but to yourself. That's like, I'm never going to go to Italy because I don't eat pasta. Okay. I'm never going to go to Japan because I don't eat sushi. Okay. I'm telling you, you sound right now. I'm never going to go to France because the Eiffel Tower scares me. It's in Paris. Go to Toulouse. Go to Aix-en-Provence. Go to Mulhouse. You know, get out. Do something. But be a part of something greater than yourself, greater than this one aspect of things. It's not so much, are we making music or are we just trying to make money? If that, there's better ways to make money.
Beautiful words of
Much
wisdom.
bigger.
Beautiful words of wisdom.
It's just my take on it. I mean, was I don't want to do the humble bragging thing, but I was lucky enough to be on a session yesterday. And I have friends in town that refuse to learn to play upright. They refuse to play with a pick. They refuse to use pedals. They refuse to play different styles of music. They had refused to read. And I couldn't turn them on to work. I couldn't turn them on to other situations. So they were stuck in this little bubble. And that's where they stay. You know, hey, pick up a fretless, learn how it works. You know, I've got two young cats, both great bass players in town. Neither one of them play with the bow. I can't understand that. I, I can't.
Wait, what?
Right,
What?
right. Neither one of them play with the bow. In fact, there was a whole bunch of students at a particular school where the teachers they were studying upright and the teachers weren't making them play with the bow. Again, mind blown. Mind blown. Higher institution of learning, teachers weren't making them play with the bow. And I had to ask them, I'm like, why?
Was
Why would you do that?
was this a higher learn? Was this a
Yes.
what?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. I mean, if you're going to, I mean, what PMA, you had to play with the bow,
Yeah.
right? Curtis, you got to play with the bow, but Curtis is specifically for that. But those kids come out playing all kinds of music. There's a bad young bass player in New York named Maggie Cox. She plays electric bass. She can play with the bow. She can swing. She sings. She's a bad dude. She's bad. But there's lots of them. There's like the I can't remember the cat that plays with what's the band Punch Brothers. He also attended Kurt's. Really bad dude with the bow, but he can swing. I'm sure he plays electric bass well. He can write. He's part of something. He's not just there playing bluegrass. He can play orchestral music. He can bop. He can play with the bow. He can play picks. And I bet you if a Beyonce melody came on, he knows it because he's aware. He's present.
Vocabulary.
Vocabulary. It comes.
Vocabulary.
It always comes back to that. Remember how many brothers we knew back in the day? We'd go to Japan and they'd say, "Man, I got to go to the embassy." For folks at home, that means they're going to McDonald's because they won't eat sushi, or they won't have ramen, or they won't have yakitori or sukiyaki or shabu shabu. So they're going to go to McDonald's instead. Now, you're going to travel around the world to eat processed food. That's bonkers. So, again, for me, that's like spending your whole life, you're going around the world, but you're only going to play one style of music, not study and learn other styles, and not participate. That's what makes Adam Blackstone great. That's what makes Derek Hodge great. These are young bass players that are killing it today because they're open to other things. And these are the guys that, Derek Hodge or Adam Blackstone might be the musical directors for the Grammys or for the Oscars. They're producing and they're MDs and they're writing scores. They're doing Broadway plays and musicals. These cats are moving forward because they're participating, they're studying history, they're being present, and they're not afraid to check other stuff out. That's I know I'm back on the soapbox again. I should just either
No,
burn it or put it to the side. Just sit down on it.
don't burn
I
it.
swear.
Do not burn it.
You know,
Do not burn it. Don't ever do
it's
that, Reggie. Don't ever
it,
do that.
it was you're really doing yourselves a disservice. We're all we and I mean sometimes we'll get older, like me, I'm getting older, and I don't listen to as much new music because there's some artists that I don't know. Um, and I I kick myself in the butt for it. I'm like, you got to keep focusing, you got to keep striving, you got to keep checking stuff out. Not not new players playing straight ahead tunes, mind you, but new music. You have to check out new players check playing their stuff. The younger Cole Davis, bad dude. He's killing it.
Cole Davis?
Cole Davis.
Mm.
He can bop and he knows fingerboard well. He plays some beautiful lines. But have to there's other stuff to check out. And with knowing your history, I got to go. I'm back on the soapbox again. There's a lot of these young artists, by the new young jazz artists. They'll be playing something in 13, but it's just this one phrase in 13 that they're playing, and that's all they'll play through the whole tune. And that's that's not really playing mixed meter at that point. You're just sort of doing an ostinato, which just happens to be in 13, as opposed to you playing with RTF and two bars down the line, you have this line in 5/8 that you back into 6/4 for a minute, and you're moving through things, or playing with Childs, where there's some music to be played, and it's not just like this catchy phrase, and that's all you're doing. That's not enough.
And I'll bring up, you know, back in the day with Herbie and Mwadishi and Buster.
Yeah,
With
and Buster
Buster
on
Williams on electric bass.
electric bass, playing a 66 or 67 bad bass, dealing, mind you, dealing,
Dealing.
and then playing on upright with Sarah Vaughan, and then playing bass behind Ron Carter, dealing. For those of you that know Mr. Carter, he does not suffer fools. So if he's got Buster Williams playing bass, it's for a reason.
He does not suffer.
He does not suffer fools. And if Buster Williams is playing bass behind him, it is for a reason.
I've spoken.
That's it. That's right. Mic drop.
Mic drop. Oh my
Carter's,
God. So,
you know,
so with all that you've said, and I I'm feeling that we have to have more conversation because it's so compelling and hopeful that some of the younger musicians will check this out, because, this, we're, it's, I'm feeling that when I speak to you, or if I speak to Karen Briggs or something like, it's like the ancestors are kind of like, ask him this question. see what comes out and stuff like
See what it
that.
comes out.
See what comes out, and then the answer's, "Well done. Well done." So we're gonna have to have another conversation, but just wanna ask you in closing, what do you hope younger bassists will understand, or hopefully they will understand about building a lasting musical life, musical journey?
I, I know in the age of AI, it's it's very easy to fall to its ways and charms because it produces product. It doesn't really produce great bass product yet. It produces really good drum product and guitar rhythm, like rock rhythm stuff, because it's kind of easy to recreate. I like like a bag of chips. I hope that the bass players will make a meal for themselves as opposed to going for the easy bag of chips, because that it kind of satiates you for a moment, but it provides no nutrients. And it doesn't keep you going through. One good meal can keep you going through the day. Protein will stay in your system for a while. You know, the vegetables will do provide the minerals and the like, and complex carbs that you'll get from broccoli. The simple carbs. I can't remember which. I think it's simple carbs. Um, that's enough, but you have to make that meal as opposed to going to the bag of chips that's in the cupboard. Make the meal for yourself. Do I know that's you know what I'm saying? That's what it comes down to. It's like practice your scales, practice your reading, get involved in other situations. If there's a if there's a fusion band, play in it. If there's a metal band, play in it. Sure, you might not necessarily meet whatever the aesthetic is, but that's because that's the politics of business. But that has nothing to do with the music itself. You know, if you don't know if you don't happen to have long number five hair, you know, playing Quiet Riot, so what? You should be able to play it. You should be able to play ACDC stuff. You should be able to play Back in Black. You should be able to play Black Dog. You should be able to play Zeppelin. You should be able to, you know what I mean? And at the same time, you should know how blues works. There's some great bass players in town that cannot play a blues. In fact, there's a friend who had a dad who was a great musician, and the friend, because I can't name names because they're alive and well, and the friend had a friend that came over to the house. The dad was like, "That cat can't play a blues. How is he working? Learn to play a blues so somebody's dad doesn't say that about you." And not a jazz blues, a Texas blues, a Chicago blues, a Delta blues. Learn how they Kansas City blues. Learn how they all work. There's difference. There is a difference. You know, learn a box shuffle. Learn at the same time. Learn how to play anointed. If you've been playing rock music, learn some gospel tunes. You know, learn. Take yourself out of your environment and explore. Don't go to Japan and go to McDonald's.
Oh,
Don't
oh,
do
oh,
that.
oh, I was gonna say, go to Japan and yes, you mentioned yakitori, shabu shabu, but you go every day to Lawson's.
Yeah. The 7-Eleven here is different from the 7-Eleven there. Explore. Explore. You know. I mean, I don't look, I'm guilty of I don't do it enough myself. I mean, my career has been real. I know we're going over time. My career has been really fascinating, and maybe that just works for me. I still try to instill that in my students. Like I've got a former student, Joshua Crumbly. He's out with Big Thief playing rock with a pick. Now Joshua also played in Terrence Blanchard's band.
Oh,
You know what I'm saying? And so he is living the life, and he has a career playing music. So he was touring Japan, playing with another jazz trio. Then he's out playing rock. Then he plays with some funk groups. Then he has his own records. But he is living the life as a bass player. The guys that we admired, I wanted to be like Stanley Clarke when I was a kid. Stanley was playing with Aretha, he was playing with Joe Henderson, he was playing with Stan Getz, playing with Return to Forever on Let Your Bass In On Upright, dealing, and still only giving 5% of the amount of talent that he actually has, which a lot of people are never going to know what you and I know about him.
Yes,
The guy that says, okay,
and
I'll give him.
ladies and gentlemen, I must tell you, just you just have to imagine this because it's true. Reggie and I would go to Stanley's house and interrupt his day. And we
Yeah,
go in there and we'd start dealing, and he'd have to deal with us.
but he could deal.
But he could deal.
That's the thing. He could deal. I mean, he can write, but look at the breadth of work playing with the New Barbarians, playing rock groups. He and Jeff Beck. That's not a guy that's just a jazz bass player. That's a musician that happens to play bass. Be musicians, but your voice happens to be this one particular instrument or three particular instruments. Was it Julius Rodriguez? Bad keyboard player, young brother. Great drummer, great bass player, ridiculous piano player, and sings as far as I know. Can't
Oh,
stand it.
and sings? Oh, God.
Can't stand it. But it's not like all right, he's just playing funk and he does this. He does this on any style of music. That's a different kind of cat. But all I'm saying is be open. Be open to experiences. I did not expect that I'd be playing with David Lynch. I did not expect that I'd be playing for Babyface for 14 years, doing records or arrangements or playing live with him. I knew I wanted to play with Stanley Clarke and Herbie and George, and I did all that within the first couple of years of being in LA. But I did not know about the other stuff. I did not know that I'd play with John Sykes or John Mellencamp or Robbie Robertson or Warren Zevon. I had no idea.
Seal.
Seal, me working at Death Row. I had no clue, or getting to play some film dates because there's some really. I can play with the bow and sometimes I'm amazing. Well, not amazing, but sometimes I'm good. And sometimes, sometimes I'm the bug, sometimes I'm the windshield. But there's guys like Mike Valerio, Ed Mears out there. Another, what's it? Mike Elizondo. Look at that cat. All right, so Mike Elizondo did all the stuff with Dre and with Eminem, but he's would have been a great orchestral bass player. Would have been a great orchestral bass and still plays really, really, really well, even though that's not what his focus has been. So be one of those cats. There's a friend of mine who I used to give some lessons to, Duff McKagan, plays with Guns N' Roses.
All right.
He wanted to expand his vocabulary, so he wanted to, at the age that he was, and he's younger than me, he wanted to play differently and do more stuff. That's what you want to be. You want to be in a constant state of learning while we're here. That's what we should do. It's like, I don't want to go outside because this is fine. Your taste buds can not only adapt, but revel in newness. And your musical taste buds can do the same. All right. I've, I've overstepped. So
No, you
we'll,
haven't,
we'll, we
man. No,
will
no, no.
we'll talk more. We will talk more because I know time is, you know,
Hey,
but
well,
we will talk.
we will talk again, and the next time we talk, I want to talk about your solo work and how that has between your solo work and how that trans it transfers to your session work and then back and forth. You know, I'm just putting that seed out there, but we got to talk again because there's so much, man. You are one of those people, man, that talks from so much wisdom and
I've fallen down
a
a
little
lot.
bit of my soapbox. That a lot of that wisdom is missing in the music that is presented as music.
I you know, that is when you say that, it's like I said this line, I've fallen down a lot. That also comes into view of not being afraid to make mistakes and try. Like Mislav Rostropovich was this great, he conducted the National Symphony and was this brilliant cellist who was best friends with Russian composer the 1950s, Shostakovich. But he would talk about the importance of having ideas more than being able to play perfectly well. So that means he's stretching and reaching for new things constantly. And that's what I'm always doing. At least I'm trying to.
And if you fall down, just get back up.
Just get back up.
Just get
Wipe
back
your
up.
knees off and get back up. And do it again. And do it again.
It's mistakes that give you the opportunity to learn.
Yeah, Stravinsky actually said that he learned principally by mistakes, not by stuff that he was able to do over and over. I can't quite remember the quote, but it's that's the way.
That's
That
the
is the
way.
way. And mediocre composers borrow, great composers steal. That happens in music as well. You can bet your butt that Train and Bird took something from Don Byas and from Coleman Hawkins.
You know they
And
did.
yeah, and Coleman Hawkins, I bet you took something from Bix Beiderbecke, who was a bad man, as I understand. I think he was the first one in the 27 Club. He died at 27. Bad trumpet player. You listen to Pharoah Saunders. You know he had some train in him because he could play, but he also had his thing. But you have to have that history. No matter what we think, we stand on the shoulders of those that came before us. You might think
Absolutely.
you're playing the baddest stuff, but it's been played.
It's been
So you
played.
have to, it's been played. You have to constantly search. You know, there's a whole bunch of guys still trying to play like Jocko. It's a whole bunch of, if the dudes could understand Stanley, because they're not even trying to play like him on upright, because it's just so hard. It's just so difficult. Because everyone just thinks he's playing hoodly hoodly hoo. He actually can play the bass in ways you just do not understand. I'm just going to put that out there because I
Find
played
out
duets.
for
I know.
FAFO.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It is total FAFO if you think it's just like a little hoodly hoo. Because he can read, 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 read. He's a he's a bad man.
And you are a bad man too,
Well, and thanks for having me on your show. Thanks
Reg.
for having me on.
There'll be more conversations.
Look forward to it.
My brothers, blessings to you, man. Blessings, man.
And unto you.
All right, man. Thank you. Everybody, we really must thank Reggie Hamilton, the man, besides wearing the hats, all different styles. He has incredible knowledge. He knows the history. He's a treasure. Reggie, we thank you for coming on Groove Don't Lie podcast. And of course, anytime you want to come back, you always have a seat at this table. Hope you enjoyed the shows, everybody. Keep that groove alive.